Hey team, it's Friday afternoon. I'm off of work. My day is free to play, and I've got a little time before I'm going to go out and catch some food and fun. So I wanted to check in and work on Spellpoint Sorcerers a little bit. So give me a hot second here. I think I have the wrong information in my updates, so I'm just jumping over to here. And where are we at here? Burp. That's I'm having a rough start apparently, so give me a hot second here to right the ship, and then we'll get started on some spell point stuff. So okay, it looks like we're up and running. And can I edit the video while it's live? Yes, I can. Full creation, stay current. Yeah, that needs to change. And then we're going to save that. And then we can skip back. And then we'll update our screen. And we should be current. Supplement, MTG settings, Spellpoint Sorcerer. Okay, cool. Looks like we are up and running. So now I can get things going over here on the sideboard. I'll do my social media postings. We're going to do some game design for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 mechanics using the color mana spell point variant rules that we published on the DMsGuild. And we are updating 2024 Sorcerer. We've gone through the core mechanics of the class. So we'll have an opportunity to update the subclasses that weren't included in the 2024 Player's Handbook, the Forsaken subclasses. That's what we're going to explore today. So to wrap up my horrible intro, if you find today entertaining and you want to catch more of this, I'm here a lot. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of books that I've already published on DMsGuild, which you have open access to, including the Color Mana Spellpoint Variant Rules that converts the Magic the Gathering Color Mana system into the 5e game engine for you to have spellcasting using the 5 Color Mana Spellpoint system that Magic the Gathering made so famous, owned by Wizards of the Coast, including D&D. So here's a stack of books. Go ahead and check out any of them. Dive on in. Today we're going to be looking at the playlist. Let's see, that's the full playlist there. Here is the playtest document that we're using. If you click here, this is my Patreon. Welcome to it. Click a button for Martial Powers. That takes you into the Martial Powers document, which we have here. We've picked at this a number of times in the past, and we're going to be using D&D Beyond here. We're going to grab classes. We're going to click into that. I'm going to fix my screen so we're not seeing triple. I've got about maybe an hour or so. So let's close up the 2024 stuff because we've already played with that. Thank you, Tasha, for your contributions. I love the Artificer. Big fan of it. Sorcerer, 2014 Sorcerer. So let's click that open. If you follow along in the playtest document, this for you will be a read-only experience. But once we're playtesting it right now on my Discord server on Saturday mornings, we're running a mega dungeon. Then we're going to do Strixhaven Mage Tower matches, which hoping is going to end up being a lot of fun. But we're building out the revisions to the 2024 books in this playtest doc, and we are down here on page 142 of the document, which is we've finished the Divine Sorcery from last week, which I have depicted here. Divine Sorcerer, cheers, get your magic wings, guiding bolts, and other fun. But we're going to step past that. I'm not going to do the Lunar Sorcerer right now. I want to work on the Shadow Sorcery. So let's go down here. Let's look at the Shadow Magic. We'll skip the quirks. Look at the features. So we're going to do some cutty-pasty stuff and lift as much of this as we can and then extract it and drop it into the 2024 game system and update the rules so that they comply with how the color mana system works and how 2024 vibes with the Sorcerer. So let's go over here. Eyes of the Dark. That's our level 3 feature. Eyes of the Dark. Let's see. You gain dark vision with a range. Typically what we do is we do a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, the range increases an additional 60 feet. There. Won't count against the number of spells that your sorcerer can learn. In addition, you cast it by 2 spending a spending spell slot. What? When you reach 3rd level in the class, you learn the darkness spell, which doesn't count against the number of sorcery spells known. In addition, you can cast it by casting 2 sorcery points by expending a spell slot. If you can't, if you cast it with sorcery points, you can see through the darkness created by the spell. And odd that we don't have more spells. I'm a big fan of spell selection in general. Let's see. You gain dark vision with a range of 60 feet. The range increases an additional 60 feet. So we're going to have first level spells, second level spells. We're going to deck out spells. And darkness is a second level spell. So when you reach, let's see, you learn the darkness spell. As if you already have dark vision. In addition, when you cast the darkness spell by expending mana, you can see through the darkness created by the spell. So that means we just add darkness to the list of spells, but you know what? There should be other spells that your character has access to. So let's see if we can, let's go through the features first, see what features are there, and then we'll go back and we'll visit the spell list to see what kind of cool spells are out there that could complement what this character is doing. So, level 6. What happens? Oh, we also have Strength of the Grave. Why? The grave has to do with shadow. Starting at you existing in a twilight state between life and death, make you difficult to defeat. When damage is reduced to 0, you can make a charisma saving throw. Success, you drop to 1 hit point, and you can't use this feature again. After the saving throw succeeds, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. Hound of Ill Omen, starting at 6th level. You gain the ability to call forth a howling creature of darkness to harass your foes. As a bonus action, you can spend sorcery points to magically summon a Hound of Ill Omen to target one creature you can see within 120 feet of yourself. The Hound uses the dire wolf statistics. Shadow Walk 14. You gain the ability to step from one shadow into another. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can magically teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light. That's just a bonus action for free. I'm cool with that. Starting at 18th level, you can spend 6 sorcery points as a bonus action to magically transform yourself into a shadowy form. In this form, you have resistance to all damage except force and radiant damage. And you can move through other creatures, objects, as if they were difficult terrain. So that becomes Incorporeal, Shadow Walk, Strength of the Grave, Eyes of Darkness. Okay, and how do we have scaffolding set up with other subclasses? Are there multiple? It's a single thing that you get at 6, but you get multiple things at 3rd. 1, 2, we get 2 things there at 3rd. 1 at 6, 1, 2 things at 3rd. You get 1 thing at 6, you get 1, 2 things at 3rd. Okay, so you get 2 things at 3rd in general. You get 1 thing at 6th, and then 14th and 18th respectively. Let's see. Ooh, okay, we're figuring this stuff out. Very good. 14th level is going to work with the shadow magic. That is going to work. Need to consider. First off, let's go with, okay, so we're looking at Strength of the Grave, and we're looking at Hound of Ill Omen. I'm not a fan of the sorcerer having a companion creature, and it's also a very large block of text, so I feel like I'm going to drop that one, and instead let's go with Strength of the Grave. It seems off flavor, but I'm going to leave it be. And we get that incorporeal thing at 14, which I like a lot, honestly. So let's go to here. Let's drop this in. It's called Strength of the Grave. Let's see. Oh my god, that's also supposed to be first level? Jeebus. Okay, so we have Shadow Walk. And then to magically transform yourself into a shadowy form. In this form, how do we have... All right, this is going to be a little bit trickier than I thought because the scaffolding has changed. That's a transformation, unearthly recovery. As a bonus action, while you are bloodied, you can regain a number of hit points. Almost use this feature, blah. Tame Surge immediately after you modify a spell. Controlled Chaos is while benefiting from when you roll magic turn, you can roll twice. Looking for Dragon Wings is a transformation, and then Dragon Companion. That's where that comes in. Let's go. Okay, so transformation at 14 would be the Umbral Walking, Trance of Order, Clockwork Cavalcade. Once you use this feature remains unchanged. Well, what the hell was it? Clockwork Cavalcade. I need to go visit that. I didn't realize I just had see the book. We've been eliminating those see with the book references so that it's a thorough playtesting. So we have to go to Clockwork Sorcerer, and let's look at what Clockwork Cavalcade is. This might actually provide the answer that we want on how to structure this stuff. So you summon spirits. I'm going to remove that. You summon spirits of order to expunge disorder around you. As a magic action, you can summon the spirits in a 30-foot cube originating around you. The spirits look like modrons or other constructs of your choice. The spirits are intangible and invulnerable, and they create the effects below within the cube before vanishing. Once you use this action, you can't use it again until... Oh, I've got ideas. Until you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend sorcery points to restore your use of it. Heal, repair. Seven mana. Wow, that's expensive. Dispel. Every spell of level 6 or lower ends on creatures and objects of your choice. Okay, well that explains why it would have to be 7 mana, because that outclocks the 6th level spell. So that makes a lot of sense. Repair any damaged object entirely in the cube. How large is the cube? A 30-foot cube. That's not very big. An Infernal War Machine could fit in there, but it's too small for a Spelljammer vessel. But a fighter craft could fit in that space. I mean, a relatively small one. But it's almost X-Wing size. That's actually not too small. We'll go with these. These I think are probably going to be good as is. And that 7th level makes a lot of sense because of the firepower. I like this idea. This is okay. Let's look at this. Let's go to expanded spell list. Let's see if that opens up for us. The list should be popping open. There it is. Thank you. Let's see. This is all spells. PH, all spells, PH. Chaos Orb is not included there. Card Inspired, pay what you want. All spells. All PH spells. Tight format. Let's... I thought I had the updated 2024 list in here. All spells, all PH spells. Is this doing it? Chaos Orb should be on here if this is the updated list. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I feel like I'm wasting time here. I'm going to skip past this. Let's go. Let's instead try taking a look at. Let's go back to the top. I want to look at the new spells. I could swear I had updated the spell list. Let's go to book creation. Let's go to. See if I can find it real quick. Color mana. Core, Master Expanded Spell List, all books. Yeah, it's going to take me longer to find that than I apparently have. So never mind. I'll get to it eventually. Let's go to. Let's sort these by level so we can see what kind of summoning shit we have out there these days. There. Let's see. I want to scroll down here. Let's get down to the 6th level spells. Illusory Dragon. I think we'll probably find some spells in here that'll be useful. Transformation, Ethereal, Finger of Death, Force Cage, Magnificent Manage, Morning Cane and Sword. That's Legacy. I don't want Legacy. I want... Yeah, just the core rules. Thanks. And it sounds like my music stopped. Everything just seems to be going weird with my computer lately. Well, hopefully we'll be able to make some progress today. Let's see. There we go. I'm looking for shadow stuff, shadow magic type things. I'm thinking Mirage Arcana might be a really useful one to throw in. Maze, Mind Blank, Sunburst, Tsunami. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go back to the front. I want to look at weird real quick. Thank you. You try to create illusory terrors on others' minds. Each creature of your choice in a 30-foot radius sphere centered on a point within range must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a target takes psychic damage and has the frightened condition. On a successful save, a target takes half as much damage only. A frightened target makes a wisdom saving throw. Thank you, Timely Timer. A frightened target makes a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a failed save, It takes 5d10 psychic damage. On a successful save, the spell ends on that target. So let's go down here. So what I'm thinking for the Shadow Sorcerer here is the Umbral form. We can take. I'm thinking pushing Shadow Walk to 6 to replace the Hound in Strength of the Grave, because this undead vibe, it's just, I'm not getting it. And this Hound of Ill Omen, they're trying to take the Hex Blade from 3rd edition. They're tying this Strength of the Grave and Hound of Ill Omen. There's Hexblade vibe in here, which was, I think, in the miniatures handbook, or was it or was it in the complete? I don't remember which complete book it was in, but the Complete Magic, maybe. Nah, that's not it. Anyway, I feel like Shadow Walk should drop down, but I also want to take a moment to see, when does Shadow Walking start happening for the monk, because that's going to be a benchmark we want to pay attention to. So let's go down to 2024 monk. If the monk gets Shadow Walking at 6, then we are golden. Shadow Step. When you're I just want to pick this up and just give this to them. You can also see in Dim Magical Light. Yep. Where's my page? There it is. Shadow Hop. Shadow, is that what it's called? Shadow Step? I can't call it Shadow Step. Shadow, what do they call it? It's in the book. Shadow Walk. Let's do this. Okay, so while entirely within dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space. You can see that is also with dim light or darkness. Let's see. In addition, while in dim light or darkness, you are unaffected by difficult terrain. That's it. Dim light or darkness. Difficult terrain doesn't affect your movement. While entirely within dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. In addition, while in dim light or darkness, difficult terrain doesn't affect your movement. And you can I need to look up the darkness spell real quick. I believe it's mobile, and if it is, that's freaking sweet. It's a concentration spell. For the duration, magical darkness spreads to a point within You can cast a spell on an object that isn't being worn when it's causing the darkness to fill a 15-foot emanation. Originating on the object, discovering that object was something opaque, such as a bull or helm, blocks the device. If any of the spell's areas overlap with the area of darkness or dim light created by a spell or level 2 or lower, that spell is dispelled. If any of the spells overlap with an area of bright light or dim light created by a spell of level 2 or lower, let's see. In addition, comma, and while entirely within okay. In addition, when you cast the darkness spell by expending mana, you can see through the darkness created by the spell, and you can target yourself as the point of origin for the emanation emanating darkness in a within 15 feet of you, period. When you cast darkness to sight, in addition, let's see. When you cast the darkness spell by expending mana, you can see through the darkness created by the spell, and you can target yourself as the point of origin emanating darkness (15 feet of you. Yeah, within 15 feet of you. Emanating darkness within 15 feet of you. That's horrible language, but there it is. You gain dark vision. If you already have dark vision, the range increases an additional 60 feet. When you cast a darkness spell, you can see through the darkness, and you can target yourself. In addition, when the darkness is targeted by dispel magic or overlaps with other magical effects. In addition, overlapping spell effects that create dim light, that produce dim light, don't end this spell, and when overlapping with spells that produce light, bright light, or otherwise targeted, such as by dispel magic, the darkness spell is considered to be cast at a level equal to half your sorcerer level, rounded down. Run it down, minimum of 2. So this way, when you cast it, you're only spending 2 mana to cast it, but if you are an 18th level sorcerer, it is considered a 9th level spell casting, even though it only costs you 2 mana to do so. It is just very difficult to dispel your magic darkness. Let's see, Shadow Walk. While entirely within dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. And while in dim light or darkness, difficult, and while, doesn't affect your movement. That's a good general feature. I think I like that. So let's then hop over to... we're gonna go with level. Is it 14? Is there a Jesus, a 7-level jump? Okay, so copy and paste. Let's go with improved shadow step. Yeah, no thanks. Umbral form. This is where that should be. Umbral form. As part of the bonus action to activate your innate sorcery feature, you can also copy, paste, select, remove. You can also magically transform. So again, this is utilizing the innate sorcery feature, which is a basically like a barbarian rage effect. So while you're sorcery raging, you can also magically transform yourself into a shadowy form. In this form, you have resistance to all damage except force and radiant damage, and you can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. Comma. Reducing your speed. Having your movement speed. While doing so, you take 5 points of force damage if you end your turn inside an object. That's it? 5 damage? Jesus. If you end your turn inside an object. So you can just... If you end your turn inside an object... or if you end your turn while occupying the same space as an object or creature, fine, you take 5 force damage. And are forced back to the last square you occupied that is not to the last space you traveled through that is unoccupied. Because at some point you're going to find some place that was unoccupied. You remain in this form. If you end your turn, great. You remain in this form for 1 minute. Ends if you incapacitate, die, or block. Don't have to worry about that because all that shit is resolved by the innate sorcery effect being active, which is normally for 1 minute, or you could spend mana to sustain it. Shadow Walk. Getting close to those spells. Eyes of Darkness, Shadow Walk, Umbral Form. We have level 18. Let's see. What is this? Let's do this. Terrors in the night. Terror in the dark. And this is where we're going to borrow from Weird with. So let's go fetch. Did I shut that down? No. Umbral Form, Hound of Ill Omen. No, it was Weird that we were looking at. That's right. Let's go look at Weird. Let's see. Weird. There we go. Fetch. Copy. Paste. Paste. Blip. And I want to go fetch the Clockwork Sorcerer. So we open that. Nope, that's not it. Let's see if we can wind back the way we came. Get back, Loretta. Go home. Shadow Step, Improved Step. Is this where it's at? Here we go. I don't think this is actually useful. This might not actually be useful at all. Terror in the dark. Okay, so let's see. You try to create illusions, terrors in others' minds. Let's see. Okay, when a let's see. When a creature enters, when a creature begins its turn or enters the area of darkness you have created with of a darkness spell that you have cast by expending mana. When a creature begins its turn or enters the area of a darkness spell that you have cast by expending mana, it must see. When a creature begins its turn or enters the area of a darkness spell that you have cast using mana, it must make a Wisdom saving throw or become frightened until it leaves the area of effect. Plug this in. Very Badoo. Let me clear my plate here so I can see stuff that's going on. Yeah, I've got 20 minutes left, and we're essentially done. Okay, Terror in the Dark. When a creature begins its turn, when a creature begins its turn or enters the area of a darkness spell that you have cast using that you have created by using mana that you have created by expending mana, comma, that seems to make most sense. It must make a wisdom saving throw or become frightened until it leaves the area. And has saving throw or on a failed save, the target takes 2d10 psychic damage on a successful save. It takes half as much. It only takes save. It takes half the damage. It has what? The frightened condition? It has the frightened condition until it leaves the area, and it must whether it succeeds or fails, it has the frightened condition until it leaves the area of effect. Period. You can choose for any creature to ignore this effect. No action required. In the area of effect. In the area of effect. You can choose for any creature in the area of effect to ignore this, in the effect to ignore within the area of darkness to ignore this effect. No action required. Ah. Yeah, you can choose for any creature in the area of darkness to ignore this effect. No action required. Second level spell, 2d6 psychic damage. I'm into that. For every level, the spell is upcast up to 10d10 with 10 by expending because at 19th level you can expend 10 mana to cast spells. You can upcast to a 10th level spell. So by expending 10 mana, that also requires you to maintain concentration on 10 points of mana, which sets your concentration DC at 20 for all saving throws. So that would be incredibly aggressive to do it this way, and it would cash a 10th. You know, it would burn one of your high magics for the day. But super useful. On a successful save, it takes half the damage. Whether it succeeds or fails, it has the frightened condition until it leaves the area of effect. You can choose for any creature in the area of darkness to ignore this effect. No action required. This gets sick when you start throwing meta magics on top of it. So that's going to be okay. I think we are actually looking pretty good here. Eyes of Darkness, Shadow Walk at 6, Umbral Form at 14. And then Terror in the Dark. Actually, let's call it Dark Terror. There. That's actually real. I think that's really dope. Okay, so now we get to start picking spells. So let's jump back to our big list. I could swear I made a list, an updated list of all the spells in the 2024 book that are compliant now with the color mana mechanics. But until I can find it, I'm wrong. So I gotta find that list. It disappeared somewhere. Let's go to page 20, and let's start cherry picking spells. So let's see. We're looking for, first and second level spells right now. And hopefully we'll find shadowy looking stuff. Dancing Lights is a polar opposite. Friends, Guidance, Mage Hand, Bending, Message, Mind Sliver, Poison Spray, Prestidigation, Ray of Frost, Resistance, Sacred Flame. A lot of light and fire stuff here. They ain't helping us so much. Protection from Good and Evil. Protection from Good and Evil isn't a bad idea. Ooh, Sanctuary. Kind of like that. Or a creature with an attack roll or damage spell. Nah, that's the wrong flavor. Protection from evil and good isn't so bad. Until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch is protected against creatures that are blah. There's disadvantage on attack rolls against the target. Not quite what we're looking for either. Let's see. If we have to, we can come back to it. Silent Image might not be so bad. Witch Bolt isn't. I don't hate Witch Bolt. A beam beam of crackling energy lances towards a creature within sight, forming a sustained arc between you and the target. Successful hit takes 2d12 lightning damage. Darkness, silent image, doesn't quite jive. Let's see. Yeep up, warp, Let's go back to the beginning. Get through the cantrips into the first level, because I feel like I'm missing spells. There we go. Alarm, Animal Friendship, Armor of Agathis might not be a bad idea. Bane might not be bad. Protecting magic surrounds you, temporary hit points, creature that hits you. New temporary hit points. Yeah, let's go with Armor of Agathis. That's cool. That's a cool defensive ability. We have Darkness already, so that's taking care of our second little slot. Let's see. All we gotta do is find one. Bless could work. I mean, Bane could potentially work. Up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within range must make enchantment or illusion spells. We need to make that. We need to make that update here. Actually, let's do it. Let's do it this way. Down to page 146. It is convincing spell. Whenever you cast an enchantment or illusion spell, what is the darkness spell? We'll get to it soon enough. Burning Hands, Charm, Command, Compel Duel. No. Dissonant Whispers might be a good one. Thorns, Healing Word, Hellish Rebuke, Heroism, Hex. Hex might not be bad. I mean, it could be fun to add. Inflict Wounds, Jump, Lone Strider, Illusory Script. No. None of those just make sense. Sickness, Searing Smite, Shield, Sleep, Speak, Tensors, Unseen, Witch Bolt, Wrathful. Yeah, we've seen those. Let's go check out Darkness real quick before we skip ahead. Aid, Alter Self, Arcane Vigor. Tap Life Force, roll 1 or 2 unexpended hit dice. You regain a number of them. That's pretty cool. Augury, Bark Skin, Beast Sense. Blindness, Deafness makes a ton of sense. Actually, that makes perfect sense. I'm excited about that. Armor of Agathis, Blindness, Deafness. We have tricks. We have tricks. Give me a second. We're gonna use one. Let's look at it's it's evocation, isn't it? That's fine. You don't save against darkness anyway. I save against the darkness. That makes no sense. Cool. Okay, so what we can do, what we can do is we can cheat spells on the spell list by looking at meta magic, and we can have at 3rd level we can have 1st rank meta magic. So we have careful spell, convincing spell, corroding spell, distant spell, empower, extended spell, impeded spell, radiant spell, subtle spell, transmuted spell, twin spell. Let's see, is there any of these are good? Extended spell, when you cast a spell, that doesn't make sense. When you cast a spell that has a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double its duration. That's irrelevant if we're using the simplified duration system. So empowered spell, when you roll damage for a spell, no. Distant spell, when you cast a spell that has a range of touch, you can increase its distance. Careful spell, convincing spell, corroding spell. You cast this spell has a range. Oh, let's see what the distance of darkness is. Darkness has a range of 60 feet with a 15-foot radius. 60 feet. Yes. And distance spell should double it. Double it. 1 sorcery point to make the range spell 10 feet. When you cast a spell that has a range of 5 feet or greater, it has a spend 1 sorcery point to double the range of the spell. Starting at 5th level, you can spend 2 sorcery points to increase the range of a touch spell to 20 feet. Okay, so if we give them distant spell, we can cast darkness up to 120 feet away. So that'll be distant spell meta, comma, blindness, deafness, and darkness. So let's go up here. Shadow Walk. When entirely within dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 120 feet to an area unoccupied, to an unoccupied space that you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. And while in dim light or darkness, difficult terrain doesn't affect your movement. So 15 feet. Yeah, I like distance spell because I can drop blots of darkness further away. And at 6th level, if we give ourselves a teleport range up to 120 feet, while entirely within dim light, you can use a bonus action. You can use a bonus action to expend 2 mana. You can expend 2 mana and teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space. You can see that is also in dim light or darkness. Period. 1, 2, 3. While in dim light or darkness, difficult terrain doesn't affect your movement. In addition, while in dim light or darkness, comma, difficult terrain doesn't affect your movement. So always have effect, dim light or darkness. It's going to cost you 2 mana to teleport, but it's 120 feet to an unoccupied space. Otherwise, it's the same. It's the same cost and effect basically as Misty Step. With the distance spell active as part of it's a freebie that you gain. You can couple distance spell with darkness for an extra point of mana to create your darkness up to 120 feet away, which you could then teleport to if you're already in darkness. So those 2 pieces of utility work well together. Do I want to make it cost less to expend 1 mana and teleport up to 120 feet? Up to, let's do it that way. Up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space. You can see that is also in light. Or expend 2 mana and teleport up to 120 feet instead. Thank you, Timely Timer. There, 2 points for 120. I think that makes a lot of sense. I am happy with that. You gain dark vision with a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, the range increases by 60 feet. Period. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's go fish. Let's go fishing for third level. And of course, as always now, if we come up short on spells, we can always go into the meta magic pile and grab a bunch of meta magic. So let's see if there's any convenient, handy dandy spell effects that we like that are third level. I think blindness, deafness makes a ton of sense. Dark vision isn't crazy to be able to grant it to other people. For the duration, a willing creature you touch has dark vision with a range of 100. Jesus, a range of 150 feet. That's crazy. Is it? No, it's not concentration based either. Holy Hannah. That's intense. Enthrall. Is there something better than blindness, deafness for a shadow? Invisibility isn't horrible. I think blindness is a great theme, though. I think that's a great theme. Pass Without Trace makes a lot of sense, too. Jesus, Pass Without Trace is a good one. Yep, let's do that. Let's do that instead. Let's drop blindness, deafness, and let's give him Pass Without Trace instead, because that's just what a juicy spell. That's just what a banger of a spell. That's perfect. I sincerely love that. And now we should be getting into third level spells. We're looking for shadow related stuff for third level. If they don't exist, then this is fifth level, and we get access to second rank powers, or second rank meta magic. So that works. Counter spell, Crusader's Mantle. We might have to lean into that. Fear isn't bad. And we have the fear effect above, so the fear is warranted. Gaseous form. Non-detection isn't bad either. For the duration, you hide a target that you touch from divination spells. The target can be a willing creature, or it can be a place or an object no larger than 10 feet in any dimension. The target can't be targeted by any divination spell or perceived through magical scrying sensor. Wow, that's not bad. I kind of like that. That kind of vibes well with shadow magic. Like, you can't be seen. I like that. That is a strong contender. Non-detection is a strong contender unless we find something better. I don't think we're going to find something better than that, though. God, what a great spell. Yep, we're going with that. That's fucking sick. I love that. Oh my God. I love that. All right, fourth level spells. Arcane Eye, Charm Monster. Neither one of those seem to drive. So we always have access to meta magic if we need it. So, and we can technically grab that meta magic pretty much at any point at this point. It doesn't have to necessarily conform with upcasting rules. But 7. Let's double check real quick to make sure I'm not crazy what we have access to at this point. I think is blinding spell. Is that a third level thing? Blinding spell's third. God, that actually does make sense for 9th level. If I can't figure out 2 5th level spells, we'll drop in blinding spell. That's a good one. Heightened spell, explosive spell, entangled spell, delayed spell. Where's enlarged? Don't we have an enlarged spell? No, I dropped enlarged spell because it was doubling the area effect is way too much mana. It's too difficult to calculate between being too bad of a deal for a non-damaging spell versus being way too good for a like an enlarged fireball. It's too much. It's just it's too much value compared to like an enlarged darkness spell. Like only in this instance would that like be really effective. So yeah, removing enlarged spell is probably a really good idea. That's implosive spell is kind of a cool idea for darkness. When you cast a spell that deals damage within an area of effect. Oh, but no, the spell doesn't deal damage. Never mind. Oof, God, but that's a neat idea. You cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw to resist its effects. Choose a number of creatures affected. That's a spell. Explosive spell deals damage, pushes you away. Entangling spell deals damage. Delayed spell. You maintain concentration on it. Okay, we'll skip that. All right, we're gonna have to hope for 2 4th level spells. Nothing is immediately leaping to mind. What does Blight do? You can see within range, makes a Constitution saving throw, takes necrotic damage on a failed save for half as much. A plant creature automatically fails to save. Alternatively, a non-magical plant that isn't a creature, such as a tree or shrub, it doesn't make a save. It simply withers and dies. That's not really Jesus. That's not really on point. Charm monster, compulsion. Nah. We'll find something. Confusion might not be horrible. Death Ward isn't necessarily. Ooh, Avard's Black Tentacles is nasty. I like that idea. Hell yeah. And it's not on their list. God, yes. Avard's Black Tentacles. Drop that into a globe of darkness. God, what a nightmare. I love it. Love it. God, and if you're grappled, you have to stay in the darkness, taking more damage. Holy shit. That is intense. That is intense. That is a great spell. Just need one more, and we're going to be good to go. Greater invisibility isn't necessarily a fail. Freedom of movement isn't so bad. Hallucinatory terrain, you wouldn't be able to see it in darkness. Same with hallucinatory terrain. Warden Kanan stuff. Ooh, Phantasmal Killer might not be a bad idea. That's mental magic stuff, though. That's not necessarily on flavor. Wall of animate objects. Oh, we're into 5th already. Wall. So we got Avard's. That was awesome. Phantasmal Killer is looking like an option. Resilient Sphere. Oh my god, trap them inside of the Sphere of Darkness. That's so fucking mean. A shimmering sphere encloses a large or similar object within range. An unwilling creature must succeed at a saving throw. Nothing. Can pass through the barrier in or out, though a creature in the sphere can breathe there. The sphere is immune to all damage, and a creature or object inside can't be damaged by attacks or effect originating from outside, nor can a creature inside the sphere damage anything outside of it. A creature or object inside can't be damaged by attacks or effects originating from outside. Well, it's not originating from outside. It's, well, maybe. Originating from outside, so the darkness emanation would be emanating from somewhere outside, unless you specifically target something on their item or trap the thing inside there with them. The sphere is weightless, just large enough to contain a creature or small or object inside. An enclosed creature can take an action to push against the sphere to roll it around, and disintegration destroys it. Shice. No, not quite there. Neat idea, though. Private Sanctum isn't horrible. Faithful Hound. You conjure a Phantom Watchdog and occupies a space. You can see the Hound is intangible and invulnerable when a small or larger creature comes within 30 feet of it without first speaking the password that you can specify. When you cast this spell, the Hound starts barking loudly. The Hound has true sight with a range of 30 feet. At the start of each of your turns, the Hound attempts to bite within 5 feet. Dex save or 48 damage. No, don't think so. Greater invisibility isn't horrible. It's not horrible. I don't hate that. Confusion also isn't so horrible. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. I kind of like the idea of confusion. It is a sorcerer's spell. Is there something better? I doubt it. Greater invisibility isn't horrible. I like the idea of confusion. I think that goes with the theme of the fear of the dark thing. Banishment, blight, charm, compulsion. Filtration. You can make a bonus action designate a direction that is horizontal to you. Each charm object target must use as much of its movement as possible to move in that direction on the next turn. Jesus, that's great. Okay, I think confusion is the way to go. And then 5th level spells. Circle of Power. What does Circle of Power do? An aura radiates around you in 30-foot emanation for the duration. An aura, you and your allies have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. When an affected creature makes a saving throw, allows a save only half damage. It takes no damage if it succeeds. It's not bad. Circle of Power is dope. Holy shit. But not quite what we're looking for. Kind of cold. Yeesh. We might not find any easy picks in here, my guys. Destructive Wave, Dominate Person, Dream. Dream might not be horrible. Gesh. Same plane of existence as you. You or a willing creature you touch enters a trance-like state to act as a dream messenger. In the trance or wait for the target to fall asleep. Maybe we'll get the dream. Maybe. Gosh. Hallow, hold monster. Storm of Radiance. That's not going to work. Mislead? Tell me about Mislead. You gain the invisible condition at the same time as an illusionary double. I like that. That's not bad. Mislead? That's logical. What is seeming? No. Seeming does not make sense. Tree Stride, Teleportation Circle, TK, Wall of Force, and we're probably going to see level 6 stuff here. Wall of Stone. Yandala's Regal Presence. Tell me about you, Yandala. Surrender yourself to unearthly majesty. Nah, that's not right. So, Mislead feels like a good contender. And Compulsion. No. Arcane Eye. Gimme. I wonder if sometimes they don't give you spells just because they can't think of what spells to give you. I wonder how often that's the problem. We were looking at Dream and Mislead. Neither one of those seem golden. Let's go look at our third level. Let's go look at our third rank meta magic options to see if there's anything jumping out at us yet. Blinding Spell. There we go. That's perfect. It's meta. And anything else? Ooh, Terrifying Spell. That adds on to that fear level we were talking about. When does the fear click in? Umbral Form. Dark Terror clicks in at 18. Yep. So we get the fear effect at 5th. We get terrifying meta. We get the terrifying meta magic at 9th. And then we have the umbral, the dark terror at 18th. I think that clicks. Oh god, this is such a great mess. Distance spell, blinding spell, terrifying spell. Okay, I think that works. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like it. I think it works. I like it a lot. Okay, this is a sick subclass, man. That's a good spell list. I think these are good abilities. Drop that back. And I'm a little bit over the time I was going to allocate towards this, so I'm going to go ahead and skip out now. When we come back, we're going to continue this on Tuesday, and then probably Friday next week, the same as we are now. So that'll be that. Yeah, that's our revised version of the Shadow Sorcery, utilizing all the tools in the toolkit for the variant Shadow Sorcery. In the Shadow Sorcery spell list, you thereafter always have the spells prepared. That's a good list of spells. That's a sick list of spells. Holy shit. Okay, great. That's it. That's all for now. We'll kick out of here on Tuesday. We'll do Storm Sorcery, and if we have time, Lunar Sorcery, though I suspect I could easily spend an hour on Lunar Sorcery alone because it has the 3 lists. We'll figure out how that goes. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for checking this stuff out. Yeah, this book's available in the description down below. You can click through my my Patreon to get access to it. You don't have to be a Patreon member, but God bless you if you want to support me that way. Otherwise, there's a ton of books here you can take a look at. You can look at them all for free, and if you decide that they're cool, consider making a purchase, again, to encourage similar behavior in the future. I will be running my 5th level Mega Dungeon as the Martial Powers playtest, utilizing the martial side of these classes for the Barbarian, the Fighter, the Monk, the Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Artificer, and Warlock. And then that's 5th level. At 6th level, we'll be adding in full casters into the mix. We're going until 10th level in the Mega Dungeon. And then we'll do Strixhaven stuff from levels 11 to 20. So, all right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.